Imagine, born into one of England's most noble families, the brightest star of the English court, a woman of unparalleled beauty who chose to be the people's princess rather than the queen. Her name is Lady Diana Frances Spencer, the Princess of Hearts and the People, an unforgettable symbol of the English aristocracy. Are you ready to follow a life story of pain, love, happiness, betrayal, disappointment, and a tragic end? The legendary news begins. The year is July 1st, 1961. Park House near Sandringham, which is also the royal family's summer residence, echoes with the sound of a newborn baby. This baby is the fourth child of John Spencer and Frances Ruth Roche, and they name this adorable baby Diana Frances. During her childhood, Diana experiences the happiest moments of her childhood playing games with her siblings, Sarah, Jane, and Charles, and running around with dogs. Diana's father, John Spencer, was a traditional English aristocrat who enforced strict discipline in his marriage. Her mother, Frances, is unhappy due to her husband's authoritarian and cold demeanour. During these years, Diana constantly witnessed her parents' arguments and would sit in the hallway crying as she listened to them fight. These events had a profound psychological effect on Diana and laid the foundation for many psychological disorders that would emerge later in life. The only person who treated her with affection, like her mother, was her nanny, Mary Clark. Diana's mother, Frances, began an extramarital affair with Peter Shand Kidd in 1966. In 1967, she left the house, leaving her 4 children behind. Diana and her brother Charles watched their mother walk away with her suitcases from the window. Diana ran after her mother on the gravel road and begged her not to leave, but her mother did not even look back. Diana was 6 years old at the time. Her mother's departure caused Diana to suffer deep trauma from feeling abandoned. When Diana was only 8 years old, her father, John Spencer, claimed that Frances had abandoned the children and was granted full custody, and they officially divorced. According to one account, when Diana was 8, her mother Frances visited them for the first Christmas after the divorce. Diana ran to her mother with great excitement, wanting to hug her out of longing. But her mother Frances angrily pushed her away, saying, "Don't call me Mom anymore, I'm not your mother." This incident reinforced Diana's feelings of worthlessness, and she spent her whole life wanting to be loved by someone. She tried hard to make people love her. Diana and her siblings grew up far away from their mother for many years. Diana described this period as her greatest trauma. Her father also showed his love indirectly, and Diana was very unhappy. One day, for a school assignment asking them to describe their happiest day, she wrote, "My happiest day was when my nanny hugged me and said, 'You are special,' because my mother never said that." In a letter to a friend, she summarized her childhood as follows. "At age 6, I learned that love is watching your mother slam the door. At age 10, I learned that even your father will do everything he can to avoid seeing your pain." These words are the most sincere and emotional words describing her childhood. Don't you agree? After Diana's parents separated, her father began seeing another woman. This woman was Rain Dartmouth, the daughter of Barbara Cartland, the famous romance novelist. At first, Diana disliked this person, who only stayed at their house at night because she had taken her mother's place, and she made this clear with her attitude. When her father married her, her rebellion grew even stronger, and she did not hesitate to reflect this in her behaviour. However, the fact that her beloved and trusted father sided with his new wife in the conflicts between them broke her heart irreparably. These events only intensified her feelings of loneliness and sadness. Diana's relationship with the royal family began when she was still a child. Their home, Park House, was adjacent to Queen Elizabeth II's mansion. During these years, Diana played childhood games with Prince Andrew and Prince Edward. She addressed the Queen as Aunt Lilibet. She could not have imagined in those years that fate would irreversibly bring her paths together with them again in later years. When Diana was only 5 years old, she began her education at home, as was the traditional practice for aristocratic families. She received this kindergarten-level education from an experienced governess. This education helped her learn basic social skills and etiquette. At age 7, she attended a state primary school with her brother Charles, and then continued her education at Riddlesworth Hall, a boarding school, at age 9. Diana took piano and ballet lessons here. She dreamed of becoming a ballerina. However, she gave up this dream because she was too tall and was not considered graceful enough. At age 12, she transferred to Westheath, a prestigious school for girls of noble birth. Although not academically outstanding, she was socially adept. In 1975, her father became the 8th Earl Spencer, and Diana received the title of Lady. While this elevated her social status, it further undermined her self-confidence. At the age of 17, she was sent to a school in Switzerland. She couldn't adapt to the school and felt very lonely. She dropped out and returned home. In 1979, Diana settled in London. With a determination to achieve something, she tried to build a modest life for herself that she enjoyed. This covers the period before her marriage to Prince Charles. She preferred to spend the money she earned herself rather than the allowance she would receive from her father. During this period, she moved into a small apartment. She shared this apartment with 2 young girls. She struggled to pay the rent for her apartment in Knightsbridge. She babysat for her friends' children in London and also worked part-time jobs such as cleaning and cooking. During this time, she did not emphasize her social status. Her modest and simple lifestyle laid the foundation for the strong bond she would later establish with the British people. In 1979, while working as a nanny for the children of the American Robertson family living in London, she works there as an ordinary young woman and hides her social status. While working here, she leads a very happy and simple life, taking care of the children's daily needs, playing with them, and meeting their basic needs. That is, until she gets engaged to Prince Charles, England's most eligible bachelor. After the engagement, nothing would be the same. The year is 1978. Prince Charles's first connection with the Spencer family is through a date with Diana's sister Sarah. Diana is also a child who secretly dreams of being a princess, and Charles catches her attention. In February 1978, Charles and Sarah go skiing in Switzerland. They are caught by a photographer there. Sarah allegedly tells a reporter there that she would never marry him, even if he were King of England. Charles, upset by her statement to the press, ends the relationship shortly thereafter. Fate had other plans, and July 1980, Charles and Diana are invited to stay at the family home of their mutual friend Philip de Pass in Sussex for the weekend. Diana tells Charles she is saddened by the recent death of her beloved great-uncle Lord Mountbatten and catches Charles's attention. At this point, Charles is a sought-after bachelor, but he is 30 years old. Everyone in the royal family, especially the Queen, encourages him to marry someone suitable for the monarchy as soon as possible and produce an heir. In previous years, Charles had expressed his desire to marry Camilla Parker Bowles, with whom he was in love, but the two lovers were unable to marry because they did not receive the Queen's approval due to her social status. This time, Diana enters his life, and in September 1980, he invites Diana to stay at Balmoral, the royal family's private estate in the Scottish Highlands. Cameras photograph them there for the first time. Thus, the secret of their relationship is officially revealed, and Diana encounters paparazzi for the first time. Diana is very happy at first, excited to be with a prince, and it is clear that she is in love with Charles. But what about Charles? A big question mark. Under pressure from the royal family, Prince Charles proposes to Diana in the Arboretum at Windsor Castle in February 1981. Diana happily accepts the proposal. She thinks she has finally found the prince of her dreams. But is that really the case? On February 24th, the couple's engagement is officially announced to the world. After that, the press's interest in this young and innocent 19-year-old girl, when a reporter asks them in an interview if they are in love with each other, Diana immediately confirms that she is in love, while Charles gives his famous answer, "What does it mean to be in love?" The distance between Diana and Charles begins at that moment. What do you think? Princess Diana's engagement ring is one of the most famous pieces of jewellery in history. The 12-carat blue sapphire, surrounded by 14 diamonds, has become iconic. When Diana got engaged to Prince Charles, she chose her ring not from the royal jewels, but from pieces by the royal jeweller Garrard. Priced at £47,000, approximately $60,000 at the time, this ring was a luxury item. Interestingly, the jeweller who designed Diana's ring drew inspiration from the sapphire and diamond brooch that Prince Albert gave to Queen Victoria in 1840. Queen Victoria wore this brooch on her wedding day as her something blue. After a brief courtship, Charles left his fiancée behind and travelled to Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks in March 1981. As the paparazzi left Charles, they captured Diana crying at Heathrow Airport. At first, everyone thought she was crying because she was sad, but the truth was very different. Before leaving, Charles had made a phone call to his lover, Camilla Parker Bowles, whom he still couldn't let go of. And upon learning this, Diana was overcome with heartbreak and disappointment and couldn't hold back her tears. In 1981, while the whole world held its breath awaiting the royal wedding, Diana's disappointments continued to mount. When she learned about the bracelet Charles had specially made for Camilla, thoughts of giving up on the wedding began to form in her mind. However, as her sister told her, it was too late to cancel. On July 29, 1981, the magnificent royal wedding, awaited with bated breath, not only by England but by the entire world, and watched live on television by millions, took place. Diana, wearing a dress designed by Elizabeth and David Emanuel, captivated the whole world with her stunning beauty as she walked down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. After months of intense work, Princess Diana's wedding dress designers created a taffeta gown with puff sleeves and a 25-metre veil made of hand-embroidered silk and decorated with 10,000 pearls. The dress instantly became one of the most iconic wedding dresses ever. The dress is said to have cost $115,000 at the time. Diana arrived at St. Paul's Cathedral, the venue for the ceremony, in a horse-drawn carriage. Her father, who had recently suffered a stroke, did not leave her side in the corridor. As she walked down the aisle, she scanned the guests to see if Camilla was there and spotted her sitting among the spectators in a white dress. Diana's heart broke once again. The magnificent royal wedding ended with the couple greeting the public from the balcony. After their wedding, Prince Charles and Princess Diana set off on their honeymoon voyage aboard the royal yacht Britannia, which everyone thought would be romantic. However, as the world would later learn, the trip was not the romantic getaway Diana had planned. Diana was deeply disappointed. The couple set off from Gibraltar on a stormy voyage that took them to places such as Tunisia, Algeria, Sicily, the Greek islands, Egypt, and Scotland. Prince Charles took plenty of supplies with him on his honeymoon, including his watercolours, several canvases, and lots of books. However, Princess Diana did not like this situation very much. She resented that he preferred to bury his head in a book rather than sit down and talk to her, and they had many arguments. Although Diana was bored and disappointed with the activities her husband had chosen, another problem that arose during the honeymoon was Prince Charles's ex-girlfriend and now wife, Camilla. During the honeymoon, Diana sees that Charles is wearing cufflinks given to him by Camilla and sees a photo of her in his diary. Realizing that he was still seeing her greatly affected Diana's psychology. Such situations triggered a recurrence of the bulimia nervosa she had previously suffered from. In 1982, the couple's first child, Prince William, was born. Unfortunately, after this happy event, Diana fell into postpartum depression. At that time, she was in such a bad psychological state that she couldn't get out of bed. In September 1984, the couple welcomed their second child, Prince Harry, but on this happy day, Charles would comment on Harry's red hair, asking if he had turned red. By 1986, Diana felt Camilla's presence in her marriage more strongly and could no longer bear it. That year, Camilla and Charles began seeing each other again. Meanwhile, it is alleged that Diana's relationship with Army Captain James Hewitt also began around the same time. Over the years, the problems between them grew and intensified. By 1988, Diana was forcing herself to maintain a fairy tale marriage that had turned into an agreement. In May 1992, Andrew Morton published his book, Diana, Her True Story. The book recounts the collapse of Diana and Charles's marriage, Charles's relationship with Camilla, and Diana's mental health issues. The book, which also reveals Diana's unhappiness, causes a media storm. The book clearly shows that Charles and Diana's marriage was far from a fairy tale. Charles is also said to have complained to a reporter about the incompatibility between Diana and himself. Despite the great turmoil in her marriage, Diana stood out throughout her life for her philanthropy. From the mid-1980s onwards, she began to establish more and more relationships with numerous charities. She worked in many parts of the world. She touched the lives of many people and became the people's princess. By December 1992, Prime Minister John Major announced in the House of Commons that the couple had amicably separated. 2 years after their separation, Charles sits down for a televised interview at his Highgrove estate and admits to cheating on Diana. On the same day as Charles's interview, Diana steps out wearing her iconic revenge dress. On November 20th, 1995, journalist Martin Bashir interviews Diana on the BBC. Referring to Charles's relationship with Camilla, Diana says, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This interview becomes a turning point. On December 20th, Buckingham Palace announces that the Queen has written to Charles and Diana advising them to divorce. Charles soon formally accepts the divorce in a written statement. Diana receives a lump sum payment of £17 million, as well as an annual income of £400,000. Diana lost her Royal Highness title and instead took the title Diana, Princess of Wales. After the divorce, Diana retained the two-bedroom apartment at Kensington Palace that she had shared with Charles since the first year of their marriage. The apartment remained her home until her death the following year. She also retained access to the jewellery she had received during her marriage. Diana continued to wear her iconic engagement ring even after her divorce from Prince Charles in 1996. After her tragic death, the ring was inherited by her eldest son, Prince William, who used it to propose to Kate Middleton in 2010. The sapphire ring has since become a symbol of both Diana's legacy and Kate's place in the royal family. After her divorce, Diana continued to travel the world participating in charitable activities. One day, while visiting a friend at a heart hospital, Diana met a man very different from any she had met before. This man was Hasnat Khan, an English Pakistani heart surgeon. His gentle yet strong personality deeply impressed Diana. She made excuses to return to the hospital to meet this doctor who had captivated her. What began as a friendship soon blossomed into something more, and Hasnat couldn't resist her either. The foundations of their 2-year relationship were laid in this way. Diana was very happy and described Hasnat to her friends as the love of her life. It is said that Diana referred to Hasnat as Mr. Wonderful. Hasnat was extremely special to Diana, and she kept this relationship private. Diana hides her relationship from the press by lying to journalists who question her about it. This way, Hasnat's simple private life, which is very important to him, remains intact. Another reason for this secrecy is that Hasnat does not want to enter the world of fame that Diana possesses. Stories are told of how, when they went out together, Diana would sometimes disguise herself with a black wig and dark sunglasses to live a normal relationship like ordinary people, and how Hasnat would secretly pass by covering himself with a blanket in the car when he came to Kensington Palace. Their relationship lasted for almost 2 years. Diana was so in love with Hasnat that she even considered marrying him. In May 1996, Diana travelled to Lahore at the invitation of Imran Khan, a relative of Hasnat Khan, and secretly visited Hasnat's family. However, Hasnat's family was very traditional. Unfortunately, Diana could not get Hasnat's strict and conservative family's approval. Subsequently, Diana pressured Hasnat to reveal their relationship to the world, and as a result, the couple ended their 2-year relationship. There are different accounts of who ended the relationship. Many writers have written articles stating that this was not just a fling, but a true love story. They have stated that Diana really wanted to marry Hasnat and have a daughter. Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell, expressed his thoughts on the matter as follows. The love of her life was not Dodi, who died with her and whom she had been with for 30 days, but Hasnat. I think that if the accident hadn't happened, she would have rekindled her love with Hasnat. Maybe this relationship wouldn't have led to marriage again, but it could have brought her and her life more happiness. Who knows? That's just how fate works. Perhaps this happy love story continues in parallel universes. At least, I would like to express my own opinion that I want to believe so. How do you think this love should have ended? Some time after her breakup with Hasnat, Diana began a romantic relationship with Dodi Al-Fayed, the son of businessman Mohammed Al-Fayed. That summer, Diana Fayed accepted an invitation to travel to the south of France with her family. Mohammed Al-Fayed purchased a 60-metre yacht worth millions of pounds for this vacation. It has since been claimed that Diana's romance with Fayed was a ploy to rekindle her love for Hasnat Khan, the true love of her life. On August 31st, 1997, on that dark day the world was shaken by terrible news. Millions of people watching television froze, unable to believe what they were hearing, and were overcome with tears. Just 1 year after Diana's official divorce, the news spread like wildfire across the world that she had died from serious injuries sustained in a suspicious car accident in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris, caused by her driver trying to escape the paparazzi. No one could believe that the kind-hearted princess had died. Her fans rushed to Buckingham Palace with flowers in their hands to pay their last respects, tears streaming down their faces. Her friend Dodi El-Fayed and their driver Henry Paul, the security director of the Hotel Ritz Paris, also lost their lives in the crash. Even today, conspiracy theories persist, and doubts about Diana's accident and death have never been fully resolved. The fact that 11 cameras along the road were turned off at the time of the accident remains a question mark. What do you think? Was Diana the victim of a murder, or was her death simply an accident? The televised funeral was watched by 2.5 billion people in over 200 countries with tears in their eyes. Her only sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, watched their mother's funeral with great shock and sadness, alongside their uncle Charles Spencer, their father Prince Charles, and their grandfather Prince Philip. Hasnat Khan also attended Diana's funeral at Westminster Abbey. He fell into a deep silence after Diana's death. Despite intense pressure from newspapers and broadcasters, he chose not to share this private story with anyone. Today, Diana continues to live on in people's hearts as the people's princess, known for her elegance, generosity, kindness, and sensitive heart. And she will continue to do so forever.